6 years after Wade Wilson's last appearance in Deadpool 2, and 7 years after Logan's last appearance in Logan, 2024 brought not only the return of my crippling addiction to buying mass amounts of V-Bucks, but also the return of Rue and Hines' most popular roles that aren't named Guy. You already know what I'm talking about. You've seen the ads, you've seen the viral marketing, you've seen the popcorn bucket. What you may not have seen is my opinions about Deadpool and Wolverine. Unless you're close to me or follow me on Letterboxd, in which case you're very well aware of my opinion. Deadpool and Wolverine, while carrying many long-awaited and sentimental moments between these two iconic characters, is a movie bogged down by lack of vision and being run through the Marvel machine. To properly talk about the alleged third entry in the Deadpool franchise, I need to talk about my feelings on the previous films of The Mark with the Mouth. 2016's Deadpool and 2018's Deadpool 2 are both films that I don't really love. Deadpool 1 is a movie I think that has a really strong plot of two tortured souls finding each other, but also has T.J. Miller.
You look like an avocado. Had sex with an older, more disgusting avocado. Yeah.
If that wasn't enough, I think that Ajax was just a really lame villain for the origin story of one of Marvel's most interesting characters. His ties to the accident that made Wade could be interesting, but doesn't try to give him more character than a British villain. An upside to the film is that I think it really gets the humor of the character nailed. Most of it is not aged poorly or is not very obnoxious. Speaking of which,
I guess dubstep never dies.
Deadpool 2 is a movie that nails the characterization of Wade perfectly. At the beginning, he's doing his job with well choreographed action since the sequel has a bigger budget and John Wick co-creator David Leitch has taken over the directing chair. Him and Vanessa are happy and planning to have a kid, and she's dead now. We're not going to have the frigid conversation. You're old enough to know that's a stupid way to keep women important to the story. That aside, it brings out an aspect of Deadpool that I'm glad was represented somehow in the movies: his depression.
Depression? Isn't that just a fancy word for feeling bummed out?
Wade's ways of dealing with his feelings are odd, to put it lightly. Deadpool himself as an alter ego is a way to reject dealing with the reality of a situation. While being a shallow way of leading to this part of the story, I do like how it's portrayed. Wade's trying every extreme way of dying to reunite with Vanessa. I like this, and I like how it ties to Russell and Cable's story. Remember them? Yeah, me neither. Speaking of important qualities left out of Deadpool and Wolverine, let's finally talk about that whole situation. When I sat down to watch Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters, I tried my hardest to have faith in Sean Levy's work and stay when Ryan's Bubble, this character that I insist he cares so much about. My faith was lost in the first 10 minutes. Conceptually, I think having this action scene juxtapose the end sync is a good idea. It resembles the opening of Deadpool 2 with Dolly Parton. The problem arises when Deadpool shows up on a green screen dancing. I don't have a problem with him dancing in the middle of a battle. That is a very Deadpool thing to do. My problems come when it is poorly integrated and breaks up the flow of a good fight scene. This one scene brought out my exact fears of this movie. Surely the rest will restore my hope. After that, we flash back to the events of Deadpool 2's post-credit scenes, recapping the events of that and showing that Wade visited the Avengers compound in 2018. He explains to Happy Hogan that Vanessa is fed up with his chick and wants him to belong somewhere. Something we are never shown why or how she said that outside of events that occurred later in the flashback. I already didn't love Vanessa's death as briefly mentioned before, especially when it's undone at the very end of the movie. So when I watched the trailer of this movie during Super Bowl, I wasn't watching Super Bowl, I was playing Fortnite, and Vanessa called Wade Buddy, I was like, huh, that's a little bit of a weird thing to call your boyfriend you've been dating for like 8 years at this point on his birthday. Nevertheless, I went on with my life until CinemaCon or whatever one of those things was where Disney talked about the movie and Kevin Feige said the F word. There was an interview with someone that said that Wade and Vanessa have been broken up when we find them. Okay, well hopefully they at least give like a good reason for that happening if it's a story. Hey, are those Bob's Burgers sisters still working on this? Not you. Anyone but you. Alright, well trauma aside, I was still fairly optimistic about this movie, regardless of the amount of cooks in this kitchen. Turns out, the straw that broke the camel's back of Wade and Vanessa's relationship was that when he got rejected by the Avengers, Wade didn't get back up and felt discouraged. Even though the whole last movie dealt with something similar with the X-Men, with him wanting to belong somewhere and learning to be happy where he was. But that was not made by Disney, so it doesn't matter. I'm not turning this into a nostalgia crate type video where I break down every scene in this movie and say what I like and what I didn't like, because that's boring and not worth 3 minutes of your time. I'm not quite in my slop era yet. I really wanted to sit down and enjoy this experience of these characters I loved for the longest time, but I could immediately tell that something was different. Even without the movie looking bland, without the final action scene feeling like it comes straight from a movie called Deadpool movie released in 2008, without Logan basically just being the same Logan from Logan, but not connected and wearing a mask that only looks good in 2 shots, I still could not care because I had a disregard for what came before it, only to do it again, but bad. Deadpool and Wolverine to me feels like a movie in the midst of an identity crisis. It wants to be an exploration of how lost Deadpool can feel, and a middle finger to the mouse to celebrate the legacy of the non-MCU Marvel movies. I love the scene of Wolverine going off at Wade in the car, even if it feels a little forced. I think having someone point out the insecurities of Deadpool and what is shown to be one of the lowest points in his life is a good idea, especially with Logan. But it's never really brought up again aside from a climax that resembles Free Guy more than anything else, and a quick glance between 2 characters that only split up because of the events we never saw. There could have been an amazing scene of Deadpool further realizing the flaws of himself with the Deadpool core, and why people like myself would want to be associated with Cassandra Nova. The best part of the movie, by the way, I love the ways her powers are shown in her motive. It really sucks when there's something that the Flash movie succeeds in that this movie doesn't. I almost got teary-eyed watching the Fox montage at the end of the movie, before I realized that the whole reason we don't have those movies anymore is because of the very studio making this one.
Who killed Hannibal?
Yes, Disney, it is very sad we don't have the movies where people were able to have a voice in their art, and thousands of people did lose their jobs because you wanted more money. But we get the X-Men talking to the Avengers. It is trying to be something that is contradicted by the very fact of a movie like this existing in the first place. It's a Disney movie that doesn't want to be a Disney movie. It's an MCU movie that doesn't want to be an MCU movie. It's a Deadpool movie that doesn't want to be a Deadpool movie. Deadpool, when it comes to characters that I hold close to me, is up there with some of my favorite heroes of all time. Even if I don't love the first two movies, they had a clear passion for this guy and his associated characters. Don't try to bring up that the movie's called Deadpool Wolverine, so it's not just supposed to be about him. It was pitched as Deadpool 3. The movie wasn't even called that until the night before the first trailer came out. And if it really is supposed to be just as much of a Wolverine movie as it is a Deadpool movie, then it would have made a much more thorough critical roast of this movie. I wanted to sing the praises of it like everyone else who watched it. I wanted to be even more in love with this character than I already am, because of someone else behind the scenes who says they care about it as much as I do. I wanted to believe that this movie would bring out a voice to someone that isn't a CGI reanimated corpse of Walt Disney. I wanted a Deadpool movie that was about Deadpool. Even after the past few years of movies and shows of characters I love not being properly represented, I had a slight sense of hope in my eyes. If I only had known to not make so much of an educated wish.